way. I think when they re-look at that race, they'll be thinking, why didn't we do a little bit more in that first 1,000?
Yes, absolutely.
It's a lot about experience for the Chinese, isn't it, though? I mean, Hartmut Buschbacher, of course, overseeing the programme now, but he has taken the Chinese out. They did come to Aiguebelette for the World Cup there to get some experience, and they're coming over more often now. The Asian Games is the big deal for them, but it's good to see a strong Chinese team here.
Yeah, absolutely, and they will have learned from that. So as we go to the start now for the lightweight men's single scull semi-final, we see them coming through the first 500 here, and that is the Chinese sculler out in front, Italy second, Australia third, as you see coming through there in those qualifying positions. Nice shot here, just of how small that single scull is and how efficiently we can see Marcello Miani moving it through the water.
Marcello Miani had a fantastic quarter. He was in the quarter-final with Pedro Fraga, who of course we'll see later in the second semi, but he beat Fraga by 4 seconds, and I'd pick Fraga really to win this event, so Miani is absolutely flying at this championships.
And now we go on board with the Chinese sculler, Yingbin Zhao, and we see quite high rating at 35 strokes a minute. It looks a little bit unsympathetic to the water, I would say. Perhaps like he's doing just a little bit of a push, making a little bit of an effort, compared to looking at Gianni, who just had, for me, a little bit more efficiency. But it's certainly working for him, and he's now moved up and has taken the lead. It
just shows you that, you know, how much that these Chinese change and chop around. I mean, this guy, Zhao Jingbin, was in the lightweight men's pair where he finished 8th in Aiguebelette, and just the versatility. They've now asked him to jump in the lightweight men's single, and he's there leading the semi-final ahead of Miani. I mean, they know no fear either. I mean, they'll just push and push and push, and it may not be the best technique, but it's very effective in this first part of the race.
Yeah, certainly a great performance, as you say, Martin, from coming across from sweep only earlier this year. He's a bronze medalist in the lightweight men's 8 from the 2012 non-Olympic World Championships, so very versatile and quite impressive to be out in the lead here. As you mentioned, Miani has been absolutely flying this regatta, so a great performance there from the Chinese sculler as they've just moved through the 1,000-metre mark.
And he's still moving on in this third 500. As we've seen, it's all important. What happens now is the real shake-up for the qualifying positions, as we see them right up at the front there. See Miani with his arms really left out long in front of him. For me, it looks more sympathetic on the front end. Chinese scull a little bit more chopped in with the blades. Maybe they bury just a little bit quicker, but I worry that he's just losing a bit of efficiency there. We'll see if it's able to make any difference, as they really are bow ball to bow ball again. And the race for third place, we now see the Irish sculler Paul O'Donovan and Perry Ward here from Australia battling it out for the third place, together with the Hungarian at the top in lane 1.
And we can see the beautiful sculling style there from Miani. He's looking very confident. He's locked together with the Chinese sculler. It's almost as though they know that they're both safe and no one's really going to bite the bullet here. It looks like either could really kick it into gear, but I think probably Miani is starting to look like the superior sculler as we come to the fourth 500. We're approaching the 1,500-metre mark now, and you can see his bow ball just starting to creep out to almost a canvas over the Chinese sculler.
Yeah, that's fantastic, isn't it? I just wonder what you were saying, Sarah, if you ever really think you're safe in a semi-final. I mean, they always used to petrify me, those races. And I'm sure he's pleased. He's got the sort of distance on the Chinese, and it's a fantastic race. But, you know, there's still 600 metres to go. We see the red boy there for 500 to go. So, are you ever really safe, Greg?
Well, we all know in a single scull there's probably more that can happen than any other boat. And really interesting to see this race for third with Paul O'Donovan, who's pushing on, and we see the contrasting styles. I'm thinking Miani is looking strong and efficient. I'm thinking Zhao is looking like he's puffing a bit, and let's see what Perry Ward's got here and whether he can really get in the mix for the third place as well.
This is going to be a really interesting last 500 here. We can see O'Donovan He looks a little bit rough. He really kicks it out the front there. But Perry Ward looking much smoother, and we can see him making his move now with only 350 metres to go. And the Chinese sculler, I called it too early. It looks like he's really starting to suffer here with the pressure from these other two scullers. Perry Ward, P-Rod from Perth. He's 26 years old from the Swan River Rowing Club, but he really wants to get through to this A final. But it's all about this Italian sculler out in the lead. I don't think he's going to be touched. It's the second and third positions which are up for grabs here.
Yeah, what a fantastic shake-up here for that last qualifying place. Like we say, Miani's out in front, but we can see somehow Zhao has found some more, and he's managing to hold off the Australian sculler. We've got O'Donovan there, who's looking for me like he might get through and hang on to that second place, but this is anyone's shout for the third place.
It's bow ball for bow ball with the Chinese and the Australian sculler, Perry Ward. Such a brave comeback from him.
Fantastic for Irish rowing as well, Sarah, if Paul O'Donovan does get through to the final. Real strong result for them.
He just had that look to the left. I'm sure he's hurting. Can he hang on for these last few strokes? You see the Italian is going to get the first place. Where's he going to go? O'Donovan gets second. It is the Australian P-Rod who sneaks through and makes it through to the final.
Now, what did I tell you about those semi-finals? You can't read them, can you? I tell you, I've been watching racing here yesterday. I saw the New Zealand lightweight men's double with Bondi's brother, and they blasted out, and they, for all the world, looked like they were going to win the race, and they finished off the back and didn't qualify. And I think people are going out quick in these races. Talked to Nick Pennell, and he kind of had his race instruction, the Australian sculler, and he was going stroke for stroke with Mahe Drysdale, because you hear at the Worlds. And I think, you know, maybe it's a rush of blood to the head, or you feel that you're going well, and perhaps you need to stick on the pacing that's going to get you the qualifying position rather than try and lead the race at halfway, which is what the Chinese Zhao Jingbin did, and he's learned from that.
Well, I think that's right. And I remember when I raced the single scull, coached by Harry Mahon, the legend who coached so many people to such great success. And what he always said to me when I raced the single, I used to talk about the race plan, and he said to me, a race plan is like a bag of tricks. And he said, it's up to you. You've got to take the tricks out when you think you need them to try and get out in front. And more than any other boat, I think an awful lot can happen in a single race. And for me, that's what we saw there, that the Chinese sculler just went for it a bit too early. He'd used all the tricks in his bag and was left struggling to make it to the finish line.
Yeah, but as you were saying, Sarah, I mean, Marcello Miani, I mean, his coach Claudio Romagnoli will be very pleased with the smoothness and the calmness under pressure, that 7:02 that he put out to win that race.
Yeah, certainly. When he came under threat, the Chinese sculler took the lead in that second 500, but Miani stayed very calm, didn't he, as you say, Martin?
Yeah, it's a little bit far off. The world record in this event is 6:46, actually set by Jeremy Azou when they had the World Cup here in 2011, I think. But sort of 15 seconds or so off world record pace.
Yeah, well, we look up the course now to the start of the second semi-final of the men's lightweight single. And these conditions aren't yet record-breaking conditions. I think there's a gentle tail on the course as we get right into the race here with Lars Hartig there leading the way through 375 metres for Germany. And you can see along the bottom of the screen there the other positions as these crews are now going to be settling, hopefully trying to find a pace that they consistently keep going through the middle of the course here.
Just as we look at that race, you can see the Portuguese lane 5. He's 2 up from the top of your picture. There's the lane 5. He's one of my favourites, Fraga, but he is slow off, and he will come through at a blistering pace in the middle thousand. So expect to see Portugal figure, but at the moment it's Germany out there leading. There's a shot of him.
And this is a really tough semi, I think. We've got 3 heat winners, 2 repechage winners. I mean, what a draw to get. But out in front, as I think we'd expect, in this early stage, the German sculler. He rode in the lightweight men's double for the last few years, including winning silver at the European Championships earlier this year, and just being nudged out of that boat and finding himself in the non-Olympic class, the lightweight men's single scull. But looking pretty comfortable. They're in the lead at this early stage, but it is so early.
Yeah, it's interesting. The German lightweight men's double is storming. They won a fantastic quarter-final yesterday, Moose and Osborne, and really been too hot for the place for Lars Hartig, the Friedrichstadter Ruder Gesellschaftsskaller, to get into that boat. So he now finds himself in the non-Olympic event, lightweight men's single. But there's a move from Babic on the far side, Greg.
Yeah, it's interesting. Babbage seems to spend more time looking at the side of his boat than he does looking down his lane. At least for him, all the competition is to his left. But for me, this race has still got everything going on. The Portuguese sculler, as you said, Martin, he's a European champion. He's back there in 5th place, but I still wouldn't be at all surprised to see him feature as well.
We've got a little focus there on the Swiss single sculler. He won the gold in this event at the Lucerne World Cup. So not a surprise, I think, to see the German and the Swiss single sculler out there in front. But like you say, over on the far side, you can see Lucas looking over. He's pretty happy, I would think, to be up in this position at the moment. But I wouldn't discount Fraga in this early stage. Certainly a blistering middle thousand we'd expect from him.
I'll tell you what, none of those 3 scullers in front are remotely mentally comfortable because they all know Fraga's pace. And the Swiss sculler, well, he'll have been told, of course, by his coaching team, which will include Simon Cox, Michael Schmidt, just to really keep calm and then do the damage in the third 500. Michael Schmidt from the Lucerne Sculling Club. And, well, Hartig is dropping back there, Greg.
Well, like you say, there's no room for keeping calm. Is these singles races, we've seen how much can happen. And Hartig has been the early leader, but he's not quite got the pace in that third 500. And it is Babic at the top there, who's getting plenty of motivation from looking out to the side. There he goes. Virtually every stroke he takes a look over to his left. I've never seen anything like it. He doesn't seem to be slowing him down too
Greg,
badly.
I remember when I rode behind you, you were looking out. You used to like to look out. Don't give me that.
I had to learn not to because I had a large man called Mohammed Sabihi who used to sit behind me in the Great Britain 8. And if I ever looked out, I certainly heard about it afterwards.
Yeah, sometimes I find when I'm sculling, I tend to look at one blade when I go into single. I'm not sure if it's just a look at one blade, but he does need that motivation. Sarah.
Yeah, it's very, very interesting. It's a little bit off-putting watching him, but the Swiss sculler sitting out here in the lead, as you mentioned, the German sculler Hartig, who was the early race leader, just finding the pace a little bit too hot to handle, but it's the bow ball on this closest side over on lane 5 that belongs to Fraga from Portugal. He's starting to make a move on the German sculler now. It's going to get really heated for these last couple of qualification positions into the A final as they move up towards the 1500 metre mark.
Pretty similar time to the first race, Greg. Both races went through the 1000 in 3:30, 5:17. The Swiss has gone through, and in the previous race that was 5:16, so slightly slower, but all to play for.
And I think it shows us we've got pretty settled conditions at the moment. Let's hope we keep them that way, and it bodes for a good final. But there's still plenty of work to be done here. As we say, we see Fraga now pushing Hartig for that third qualifying place.
What do you think about Fraga's technique? He looks quite upright, doesn't he? But he's got a hell of a pace on him. That's about 36 strokes a minute he's rating there. Or up 40, actually. Sorry, they're telling us on the screen.
Yeah, it really looks like he blasts it with his body. We've got a more pressed through sort of style here from the Swiss sculler, that he connects his body, although it's still quite upright, and then rocks it through. The German sculler, we see more lean back, more in the shoulders there. But now it's time to get the stroke rate up. He maybe don't want so much shoulders, as we see from Fraga getting the rate up.
And I think this is everyone's worst nightmare in a semi-final, that the team down in 4th position starts to come up, and then it brings everyone through with them. And that's exactly what we've got here. We've got 3 scullers locked together for 2nd place. We've got the Swiss sculler. He's holding on ever so slightly, half a length up. But look at the lift in Fraga's shoulders. He's fighting for this now. He's going. He's made his move. And the German sculler finding it just too hot to handle.
Yeah, but he's going
moved up into 2nd.
He's going through Babic on the far side, Sarah.
Babic will be able to see what's going on because he's still looking every stroke. For me, if he just looked down his boat, put his head down, did 10 massive strokes, he might make it in front.
What a finish from Lars Hartig, though. He's holding Fraga off. What a close finish.
Look how Hartig has found some more at the end there. And it is Swiss, the German. Oh. Again, we're just going to have to wait.
Fraga was looking so strong there, powering through, but was he the one that missed out?
I think he's got a very upright style, hasn't he? And his coach, Jorge Cardozo, will probably want to maybe try and get a bit more length in his stroke, but you are really sprinting for the line. He'd gone early. I think he's got it over Babic, hasn't he?
I think from that, Fraga's got it over Babic, but I haven't seen anything official yet.
Yeah.
It's just come through to our monitor that, yes, the Portuguese sculler, Pedro Fraga, has just got that. and will be racing in Saturday's final.
Yeah, but for me, I thought Hartig was dead and buried. The Friedrich starter Sculler was just out of it, and he just found something from somewhere. I just wonder whether Pressure Fraga slowed down in that final sprint, Greg. He kind of went sort of from 500 to 250 out, and then when he got to 250 his legs kind of went.
I'm not so sure. I thought it was Lars Hartig who suddenly seemed to find something more, because Babic was there and Babic faded a little bit, the Slovakian sculler, but to me it was very gutsy really that Hartig had let it out and then in the last 500 found some more. Normally when someone fades in the middle like that you don't expect to see him with a finish like he found.
Yeah, digging deep like that, it's very impressive performance there in the dying stages.
So what great racing we've had there in those two semi-finals, and what a great final it's going to be in that men's lightweight single. We expect it to be close because they are all 70 kilo guys, and that